7 a.m. on a Tuesday. I've eaten nothing. I'm dizzy. I feel nauseous. And I'm on the way to Aachen for some more tests at the uni clinic. Fingers crossed this goes well. Well, I've made it. I had to take a train and then a bus. I'm feeling nauseous, but luckily I will be on time for my appointment. So this is the university clinic, Aachen. It's huge, very strange looking. So I'm gonna go in, be put in a spinny stool, get some tests, and talk to a doctor. We'll talk soon. Oh, I hate this carpet. What's going on? I just finished my first round of tests. I sat in, what they call the Drehstuhl. It looked kind of like the kind of chair you sit in a dentist office, but with handles on it and a seat belt. I had one of those high-tech goggles that has a camera in it on my eyes put on me, and I had to follow a light. And now I have to take an hour break, and it's raining, so I'm going to go back inside. I'm done for the day. I went for several rounds in the spinny stool. Met with the doctor at the end. Got a recommendation for some rehabilitation. This right here is my skeptical face. Right now, I gotta figure out my way with the bus back to the train station, and then from the train station back to home. And I'm still feeling dizzy, and I feel like a headache's starting, but I guess I'll sum it all up once I get back home. It's a strange design of this building. I heard the architect did it on purpose. Like, it looks unfinished, like all of the air ducts and stuff on the outside. It's such a strange looking place. But if I'm honest, I don't know if I'll be back here, and I may be looking for a second opinion. Stay tuned, I'll be right back. I gotta go catch a bus. Okay, so I'm home. That was a long day, and as you see, I didn't do any filming inside the hospital except to show that horrible carpet that is really not nice to people that have vertigo. Just to recap, the reason I was so excited about this appointment is for the last 2 years, I felt just kind of like pushed to the side. Like, I felt like a lot of doctors I saw just didn't know what to do with me. I don't know what that alarm was, or if I'm about to get raided. Anyway, so I was excited because the last time that I went to this clinic, I met with a specialist who is known all over this country for being the go-to guy for this tumor. And while this clinic showed some difficulties my first 3 days I was there, that last appointment with him and these two other brilliant doctors gave me hope. But if I'm honest, that hope's been kind of stomped on now. You see, at the end of my last appointment, I was told that I need to come back and do more tests, and that this doctor had a real interest into getting to the root of why I still, more than 2 years later, have vertigo. He also said he wanted to look into if there was anything he could do about correcting my hearing, like maybe a cochlear implant. No promises were made, but he needed to look at the CT they had taken, and that wasn't ready. So they left me at go to an eye doctor, get a full exam done, and bring the results back to the next appointment. By the time you get that done, this Drehstuhl will be repaired. So I did that, and I had hope. This guy said he had an interest into looking into why I still feel this way. But today, the last appointment was the appointment where I meet with the doctor, And if I'm completely honest, I don't even know if that lady that I spoke with was a doctor. She didn't shake my hand and like introduce herself as doctor, blah, blah, blah. But before I go into the negative, I want to say the positive. First off, she was quite pleasant and nice. That is worth something to me. And I cannot say enough nice things about the gentleman that ran me through all of the Drehstuhl tests. This guy was so nice, so professional, kept checking on me if I needed breaks, but also wasn't afraid to smile and be friendly. That's sometimes very hard to find in this country, unfortunately. Even bonded a little bit with the guy. Turns out him and I both moved to Germany in the same year. Him from Iran and me from America. We had a little bit of small talk. In the end, we both decided that any religious extremist government is not good. So we got that settled today. But so back to that eye exam, I brought my results, and when I tried to give them at first to the lady at reception, she gave me this look like, why do you want to give me this? And I explained to her again, and she was like, took it and put it in with all my paperwork. But then I ended up at this doctor lady at the end, and she didn't have any interest in that eye test at all. She was looking at these tests that I had done today, and she said, well, you know, that balance organ in my left ear is completely busted, and you know that bone's broken. I was like, what bone is broken? Like, this is like the third thing I'm hearing about specifically being busted in my ear that one would have thought I would have been told right after my surgery, but go on. And she started with pretty much what I've heard for the last 2 years, which is your right side is fine, and that means eventually your brain will kick in and retrain itself on how to work with this. So I went from having hope and a doctor that said he wanted to get to the root of why I still have vertigo more than 2 years later, to having some lady in front of me tell me I need to do physical therapy, which I did and do, and am very active, and my voice just got lower and lower. 2 years, as she sat in front of me, smiling and oh so very positive. So I asked her, what about this possibility of a cochlear implant, as the doctor mentioned he wanted to look into? She literally then just kind of like, well, let me look at the papers. Looked through some papers. She never had a discussion with my doctor about what he talked to me about my last appointment, because she looks at the papers and goes, oh, well, that nerve in there is incredibly damaged, so even if we try to do the cochlear implant, that nerve is probably not going to be able to take the data. So just like that, that was gone. But just in the end, I feel like there was zero communication between the doctors I saw at this first appointment, who had a real interest in trying to figure out why I'm still having so many issues 2 years later, even though my brain should be retraining itself. And instead I went back to square one, the same thing I've been facing for like 2 freaking years here. Oh, well, you had a big operation. It was a big tumor that it's damaged. But eventually your brain will... When is eventually? This is more than 2 years, and I feel like shit on the daily. On the daily, I am dizzy. On the daily, I am nauseous. Almost daily, I have headaches. Sometimes I have migraines. And the tinnitus ringing in my ear is making me effing crazy. And so I'm just like, when do we worry? Like, when do we say, hey, that brain should have retrained itself by now, and maybe look into if there's something else wrong, is my question. I could be completely overreacting. I do that sometimes, especially when I get angry. But I think it's understandable that I'm frustrated. You know, like my house cat, just my regular GP, my regular doctor, been slipping in at appointments, you know, Frau Armstrong, you just may have to live with some of these things. And I get, you know, I was warned that some of these things would be damaged by this stupid tumor I had, and that I may have to live with these things, but I felt like that was like jumping the gun before we really looked into everything. Like, literally, each of these appointments that I wait like half a year for, every time I go there, I find out about a new thing that's broken in there, that apparently happened either at my operation or from my tumor, but nobody told me in the hospital when I got released, and the ear, nose, and throat that I had afterwards that I've since moved on because he didn't give a F. So yeah, I wish I had a happier update for you all. I'd like to try to keep really positive. Right now I feel a little broken, a little hopeless. I'm not completely like giving up. And I'm gonna do the rehabilitation that they've given me the paperwork to do, of course. But I think I gotta think about finding maybe just another specialist to look into this. I mean, more than 2 years later, dizzy even if I just move my head, but going up and down in any situation doesn't make me feel good. The nausea, the headaches, the ringing noise, all of these damn things, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But that's what we got, and I appreciate you all keeping up with me. As I got updates, I will post them here. If you enjoyed the video, click like and let me know. If you're new and you want to follow more, or you got an acoustic neuroma as well, click subscribe. I make a public folder where I upload everything related to this stupid tumor. Maybe I'll take you guys with me to some physical therapy. That should be funny. That's all I got. I appreciate each and every one of you. We'll talk soon, but in the meantime, take care of yourself.